"Please don't touch me," she cried. But the millionaire rancher did. The silence of the Wyoming range was more oppressive than the heat that pressed down on Jed Callahan. Esnek, as he rode his horse toward the Callahan ranch house, something was wrong. Usually when he came up over the ridge, he could hear the cows in the distance, their bells tinkling like wind chimes in the afternoon breeze. But today, there was only silence. Jed was a millionaire, one of the richest men in the county. He owned half of Wyoming, or so it seemed. But out here on the range, he was just a man trying to hold on to his land and his life. In town, he'd heard a rumor about one of his fence lines being cut, and as he rode out to investigate, the ominous feeling in the pit of his stomach grew. It wasn't just the oppressive silence, it was the land itself, the way it seemed to sag under the weight of its own secrets. He found the break in the fence line. It had been done with a vengeance, whoever did it wanting to send a message. Jed ran a hand over the splintered wood. Whoever had cut this fence wasn't just trying to get a few cows. They were trying to send a message. Jed had a pretty good idea who was behind it. Graves. Jed spat the name into the wind. He didn't know why Graves hated him, but the man was as tenacious as a burr and just as ugly. He'd been after Jed's land for years. If he could get enough of the Callahan's cattle to make a decent herd, then maybe he could sell them and buy himself a spread. As Jed turned his horse around, he saw a figure standing by the corral. Relief flooded him. It was Annabelle, his housekeeper, the only other person he had out here with him. She was worried about him. He could see it in the set of her shoulders, the way she kept glancing over her shoulder toward the house. "What is it, Anna?" he called out to her, riding closer. She stepped back, her face paling when she saw the grim look on his face. "Mr. Callahan, you shouldn't have come out there alone. You should have taken 2 or 3 men with you. Or better yet, you should have told the sheriff." He pulled his horse up beside her. "Anna, there wasn't any reason to tell the sheriff. All I had to do was ride out and see if the fence was cut, which it is. If it was done by Indians, which I don't think it was, we would need the cavalry." She looked out at the broken fence and sighed. "Yes, sir, but a fence is one thing, Mr. Callahan. But if it comes to men stealing your cattle or worse, you might need the sheriff after all." He didn't tell her about Graves. He didn't want to worry her. Besides, he could handle Graves, he always did. He just needed to find the man. When Jed went into town, he made sure to stop by the jail and the saloon where Graves liked to hang out. But the man was nowhere to be found. Jed returned home empty-handed, but not empty-hearted. He had a lead on Graves. Annabelle was sitting on the porch when he came in, and he told her everything he'd learned. When he was done, she stood up, her eyes blazing. "You knew this was going to happen, Mr. Callahan," she said, her voice shaking with anger. "You knew this day was coming when you bought this land. Why didn't you listen to me? Why didn't you tell the sheriff what was going on? We could have prevented this." He got off his horse and walked up behind her, putting his arms around her waist and resting his chin on her shoulder. She leaned back against him, her body relaxing in his arms. "I'm sorry, Anna," he whispered, knowing that she was right. Should have told the sheriff. But something kept him from doing it, some sixth sense that told him that he couldn't solve this problem with guns and law books. He had to do it his way. They stood there for a long time, not saying anything, just holding each other. Then Annabelle straightened away from him, wiping her eyes. "It's late," she said, "and I'm sure you're hungry. I'll get us something to eat." He took her hand, stopping her before she could walk away. "Anna," he said, "I never asked you this before, but I want to now. Will you marry me?" She looked at him, her eyes wide. "Oh, Jed," she whispered, and then she was in his arms again, kissing him. He felt complete. He had his land, his cattle, and now he would have Anna. Nothing else mattered, not even Graves and his threats. He didn't know what the next day would bring, but he was ready for it. He'd face whatever came his way, as long as he had Anna by his side. Please stay tuned for our next episode. See you then.